All right, let's look at the bar graphs. Remember, don't confuse them with histograms. They both have these rectangular bars, but a bar graph uses our categorical data, and histogram is going to use numerical, like the age of presidents. And in bar graph, our bars are not going to touch. The order doesn't matter. Histograms, our bars will touch, and the order does matter. We need to go from least to greatest because we're dealing with that numerical data here. Notice I'm still labeling everything. I'm telling you what these words mean. They're the snacks. And over here, these numbers mean the number of votes. So 9 people chose fruit and 2 people chose crackers. Um, Bar graphs, I've got these going horizontal, but you could turn it the other way and have the snacks down the bottom and have vertical. The orientation isn't really important. All right, last, let's look at circle graphs that are sometimes called pie charts. These are really good. We're looking at a whole set of data and breaking it into pieces. There are a couple ways we can ask questions. We can ask you for questions in order to find the percent, or we can ask you questions in order to find the measure of the angle. So when I'm drawing these, I would need a protractor. So the angle that I would draw here for this 30%. In this particular one, I've given you all the percents. This is a completed circle graph. So 20% of the students at this elementary school chose baseball. So if there were 100 students, that would mean 20 of them, baseball was their favorite sport, and 5 of them would have chosen gymnastics. Starting with a new circle graph, so not the same one we just were looking at. Let's say a sector is 50 degrees. We want to know what percent of the data that is. So there are 2 ways to think about this. The first is to set up this algebraic equation. So a whole circle is 360 degrees. 360 degrees times my percent is going to give me my 50 degrees. And then I'm going to solve that. Another way to think about it is to skip this algebra step. And remember that fractions are part to whole. The part is the 50 degrees, and the whole is always 360 degrees because there are 360 degrees in a circle. I'm going to type that in, and it gives me this nasty looking decimal. Remember, my answer is in percent, so I need to move 2 decimal places. And we're going to say that our directions are to round to the nearest tenth of a percent. So I'm going to first move 2 decimal places to give me 13. And then I have that 0.888888. So that's going to round to 9. So this is rounded to the nearest tenth of a percent, 13.9%. Let's look at a different one. So this is where we're asking people for their favorite ice cream flavor. And we asked 50 people. We're going to have 2 questions. First, if 10% of them say they like vanilla, how many people is that? So I'm going to do 10% of 50. Remember, of is our keyword for multiplication. So 10% of 50. 10% is the same thing as 0.1. Of is going to tell me to multiply. So 10% of 50 is 5. Next, I want to know what the degree measure is. So I've given you the percent this time, and I want to know the degree. So opposite from what we just saw in our last problem. Again, it's 360 degrees in a circle. So 360 times that 10%, again 10% is 0.1, so that gives me 36 degrees.